welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks since I uploaded my last video with the coffee dyeing paper techniques, and I'm looking forward to sharing a couple of cards that I made today using some of those background papers. So where have I been? I have been enjoying summer and busy in our garden and our flower beds, and I've also been busy working on some creative projects that I'll share with you guys soon. But I have been wanting to stamp and create and make some things with a lot of those coffee papers that I showed you in my last video. So today, Saturday morning, I spent some time and I made a couple of cards, and I'm going to share those with you today. And then in my next video, I'm going to show you some more cards, and I'm also going to show you some journals that I'm going to be making with the coffee paper. So whether you like coffee dyeing paper or not, you're going to get lots of ideas, tips, tricks, techniques, and layouts for your own projects. And if you love coffee dyeing techniques, be sure to watch because you're going to love this. And also, if you've missed my previous coffee dyeing paper video and I have a companion guide to go with that, I'll put the links in the description for you down below. So with that, my friends, let's start stamping. Today I'm sharing the two card designs that I made using my handmade coffee dyed paper. One is simple and clean, and the other is vintage inspired with lots of beautiful layers and textures, and I had so much fun with it. And just a little heads up, this video isn't going to be super chatty. I've sped things up just a little bit, and I'll just pop in here and there to share some tips and point out the parts that I think you'll find helpful. So be sure to grab a cup of something delightful to sip on, sit back, and I hope you enjoy the creative process. So if you're curious how I made these coffee dyed backgrounds and the die cuts that I'm showing you, I do have a full tutorial linked in the description box below. And if you want even more coffee dye techniques, ideas, and inspiration, I've also created a coffee companion guide, and it not only comes with the detailed PDF, but it also comes with a private exclusive video that shows some of these awesome backgrounds. So the link will be down there for you too. So what you're seeing here is a background that I created using the Scenic Adventures dies, and the die cut is from a retired set of dies, which was or is called the Greatest Journey dies. So I'm just using very vanilla cardstock for my card bases and swiping on some crumb cake. All of the coffee dyed pieces you guys were done with very vanilla cardstock. Both of these die cuts were just cut from the coffee dyed paper. Some of the coffee dyed paper had some ink put on it. I believe it was balmy blue. And I love how this sweet little bicycle die cut, it's so simple, but it really pops against all those different coffee tones. And now I'm pulling in a current stamp set called Weekend Adventure. Oh my goodness. The sentiments couldn't be more perfect for this card. Now, I had a little whoopsie with this card. This is nothing unusual. My middle name, Crooked. So I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to fix this? So you'll see, I just pulled out some more coffee dyed paper. I re-stamped the sentiment, cut it with a tag die, and put it back on. And my friends, I loved the final result. It was even better than what I originally hoped for with this card. Just goes to show, don't give up, keep playing, and you'll probably be very delightfully surprised with what you come up with. I absolutely love how this card turned out. All it needed was a little embellishment. I had a hard time deciding which ones to use, and again, I'm using a lot of my retired stash. I think we should use what we have. And I pulled out some metal embellishments that I think were just perfect to finish off this card. It's a simple card. The dies from these scenic adventures created the background with the coffee, and then just adding a couple die cuts and a sentiment little embellishment, and oh my goodness, I love this card. Now for this next card, I went all in on the vintage look, and I'm swiping on my early espresso, and look at it, looks like such a mess. I'm gonna be honest, I was cursing on the inside. But I kept going with it, and even though it was looking way too dark, I just kept playing with it, and it ended up turning out perfect. So I love anything vintage. So this card, once I got rocking and rolling with it, it really spoke to my heart. And I'm wondering, what the heck do I do here? And I just decided to just play and hope for the best. And I decided to pull in the elements of text, which of course many of you know, this is a stamp set I'm completely obsessed with. It's still current with Stampin' Up. So I just used my early espresso to add the text, and then I sponged on a little bit of the balmy blue just to pull in a little bit of color. And then I decided I'm going to turn this one piece into two, and I'm going to make two different cards with it. So in this video, I'm only showing you one card using this half piece, and I will be using the other half on a thank you card that I want to make for a friend of mine. So I'm just trimming up my panels to measure 4 by 5 1/4, and I ended up pulling in some Stampin' Up! Markers, or Stampin' Right markers, and I just scribbled them onto my glass mat, picked them up with my water brush, and colored in the colors. I pulled in some more coffee dyed paper, as you're seeing here, and I just played with it. I pulled in retired washi tape. I pulled out my sewing machine and stitched around the edges, and I just had the most fun with this card. Right here, I'm pulling out a tool that we used to carry, and it wasn't working. This is just regular photocopy paper that I coffee dyed, and it just needed something a little bit sharper, and that's why I'm pulling in my scissors just to rough up the edges a little bit. This is my good old faithful sewing machine. I'm not a sewer, I'm a paper crafter. So this machine, mind you, I have sewn some things on this machine, but I bought this machine back when I lived in Cumberland on Vancouver Island. So we're talking well over 30 years ago. So it needs a little bit of a servicing, but since I've rearranged my stamp room, I have been pulling out all the things so that I could use them. And I have missed sewing on my paper. So that adds such a nice, fun texture. And I'm going to be pretty much keeping this sewing machine out, I think, at all times, because the journals that I plan on making are also going to be sewn. So much fun.
old-fashioned, wear a hat, sometimes play chess. And when I'm out, I'm looking for that vintage fling. But all complexions that I adore, so hard to find, these seem impossible to score. So I dream on to someday find that vintage love. I kept on looking, but everyone's such a bore. And out of a sudden, you came through the door. At the next table, your whiskey neat, the lights were dimmed as our eyes met, moves on me. And forevermore, I like to share that vintage dream.
I decided I wanted to make the body of the butterfly stand out a bit more. So I started by putting some crumb cake marker on top of it. This is just coffee dyed die cut as well. And then I decided I'm going to add it, or make it a little bit darker, I should say. So I added a little bit of smoky slate on top. And then I put on some clear wink of Stella. And then ultimately I kicked it up a little bit more. And I added some crystal effects that I also found whilst cleaning my room the other day. It's amazing what you can find in your craft rooms, and it's so much fun to pull things out and use it. Now this was a fun afterthought. I was going to curl up some paper to make the antennas for the butterfly, and I looked in my ribbon stash and I'd seen some of my silver cord, so I just cut a little bit and pushed it into that crystal effects and let it dry in that. So I was really pleased with how this came out. Added some stamped, I used the grunge image from the Elements of Text to stamp on the butterfly and embossed it in gold, and I was just thrilled to bits with how that butterfly and how the whole card actually turned out. I am planning on turning the second half of the embossed coffee dyed paper into a thank you card, but I didn't end up making it today. I just made the one that I'm showing you. So I didn't use the thank you sentiment from the terrific toadstool stamp sets, but I did pull in another couple retired stamp sets so that I could stamp friend, and that was the potted geraniums stamp set. And then I also pulled in changing leaves, which I believe, yes, it also retired too. So I'm just using all the things, you guys, and really, as you can tell, I think having such a good time. And I pulled in those same stamps and die cuts in the inside portion of the card, as you'll see in a few moments.
When the sage brings the rite of spring, moaning dove and the sparrows sing, through the light that the sun will bring, reborn. Flocks are creeping on the wall, swallowtail heeds the northern call, and the last of the frost will thaw, reborn. In the warm of the spring, I recall plain. Red-winged blackbird, soft refrain, reborn in the warmth of the spring. I recall everything once more.
Here I'm simply pulling my markers and water back onto my glass mat. The die cut ripped, but that's fine. I was able to just glue it no problem onto the cardstock. But this is a really fun way to color your die cuts just by using your markers, your ink refills, tapping your ink pads onto a surface like your glass mat, adding some water, and then just pulling your die cuts through the color. And I'll tell you what, you get such a beautiful effect, and you can just utilize this particular technique that I'm showing you right now in so many ways. So I hope you give this a try. It's a lot of fun and just so incredibly versatile. Here's another fun way to use your scrap bits of paper. Turn them into washi tape, sorta kinda. While it's not exactly tape, it sure looks like it's just a bit of tape. I just simply trimmed it up, tore it on each end, and glued it onto my card. And this is probably going to be something I'm going to be doing more often because I love how it looked. Now I'm stamping inside the card. This is for inside the card, and oh, look, it's crooked again. Listen, if it's perfect, it's just not very interesting, right? Perfection is overrated. So I'm showing you here how I fixed it. I think it looked a lot better anyways in the long run, as it usually does. I just stamped and embossed in white onto black cardstock and just popped it right on the inside. And I really like how it turned out. So there you have it, my friends. Two completely different types of cards, both made with my coffee dyed papers. Let me know in the comments which one you try, the clean and simple design or the layered vintage version. I always love hearing what you think. All the supplies I used, including current products, will be listed in the description below, and you can also find them over on my blog. And don't forget to check out the Coffee Companion Guide if you want more fun ways to use your coffee dyed paper. Thanks so much, my friends, for watching. I appreciate you so much. Take care and happy stamping.